Hello everyone, I'm excited about today's book. I've been waiting to tell you guys about this book for a long time. It is one of my favorite horror books of 2023, even though I read it way back in 2022. And I can't wait to share it with you. But first, as always, I want to remind you that I have books for sale. And if you want to read any of the books you see on your screen, there's a link in the description. Alright, let's get on with the video. Alright. So the book we're going to talk about today is called Maeve Fly by C.J. Leede. I absolutely love this book. It is on my list of one of the best horror books of 2023, and with very good reason. And I'm excited to share with you guys why. Because our title character, Maeve Fly, she really only likes four things. She loves where she lives. She lives in LA. And despite people thinking of it as a grimy sort of place with a lot of glitz and glamour on the outside, but rotten and decaying and shallow, on the inside, she absolutely loves everything about it, even the seedier parts of the town. And that's fantastic to see in a book, because a lot of people like books that put down that kind of lifestyle, but this author went the other way. Her character just loves living in LA. She also loves her best friend at work. They will have each other's backs, always look out for each other. They are thick as thieves, and they love each other. And she loves her job, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. Absolutely loves it. Very good at it. And she loves her grandmother, the woman that took her in kind of and raised her and taught her some things that led her up to this point in her life. And those really are the four things she loves. And Maeve Fly happens to be a serial killer as well. Now, her job by day is she plays the part of a princess. She is a character actor, a princess, at a certain theme park that has a mouse for a mascot. Let's just put it that way. The author never comes right out and says which park it is, but we know which one. And her and her friend play a princess every day for a living. And they love it, and they are good at it. Children flock to them. They are two of the most popular princesses in the entire theme park, much to the jealousy and chagrin of some of the other character actors who also play princesses, but that will have its consequences. So the fact that she does this during the day, she is around children all day long as part of her job, and yet her extracurricular activities are, killing people, that makes it a little bit more creepy. But that's the thing about this book that really makes it so hypnotic and engaging and great, And that's the theme throughout this whole book, right? Maeve Fly acts as our antagonist, and she also acts as the protagonist. So there's these roller coasters of emotions as you're reading, because in one chapter you might feel sympathy for her. You might feel empathetic toward her. And her situation and what some people are saying to her and doing to her and bullying her and her friend, out of jealousy or spite. But then in the next chapter, you'll be like, oh my God, why doesn't somebody stop this woman from doing these horrible things to these people? But you will feel a certain amount of sympathy for this woman who basically kills people as an extracurricular activity, which I really enjoyed. And I think part of that is because it's kind of cathartic in a way, because you're doing it through the eyes of this character, and we've all known people who we may think, it may be off-putting, and we think, the world would be better off without that person, or we'll get angry and use a phrase like, oh, I'm going to kill that person, but we don't mean it. But in this book, this character actually means it, and she has no problems crossing that line and just taking care of whatever needs to be done, if somebody crosses her. Her relationship with her grandmother was really great too, because her grandmother saw right away that there was her grandmother knew that Maeve was going to turn out like this when she first moved in with her, because their relationship was not one of typical grandmother-granddaughterly love, but basically her grandmother taught her how to survive, how to get away with her crimes, also teaching her about why she should love where she is and be comfortable in her surroundings, especially in LA, And so that really affected a large portion of Maeve's life. And during this book we have several things that keep this narrative going, several subplots there. One of them is when she meets her best friend's brother for the first time, who happens to be a professional hockey player. And at first Maeve wants nothing to do with him because he's a jock, you know, and she has no use for those kind of people. But once they get talking, they realize they have some things in common, but some very sick, twisted things. And that is going to get pretty messy when they perform these things together. And then there is somebody stalking her, perhaps. She's finding these creepy little dolls in different areas of town that she frequents all the time. Little bars and restaurants and areas on the sidewalk. And she knows immediately, even though she can't prove it, but she knows that somebody is leaving those there for her as a message. So she might have a stalker. And of course, this stalker is going to have to be taken care of. So we have all that going on, but there are some scenes in this book that are just so bloody and brutal and gory. Even you gorehounds are going to love this book. There's one scene particularly at the end. I want to tell you a little bit about it, but it is so disturbing and so gross and disgusting in the best possible way, that even if I wanted to tell you about it and tell you what happens in it in the most flowery way I could, YouTube probably would not allow it. That's how bad the scene is. If you've read the book, you know the scene I'm talking about. That scene is forever going to be etched in my mind. So thank you, CJ Leede, for those nightmares for the rest of my life. But it's fantastic. It's great. It's gross. This is absolutely one of my favorite horror books of 2023. And you definitely need to pick this up and read it. There is a pre-order link down below to Amazon where you can get your copy. It's coming out on June 6th. You do not want to miss out on May Fly by CJ Leede. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time, spending it here with me. I really appreciate you guys watching. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.